Well, my name is Bill Considine, and like you, I love our community. And my wife and I, Becky, are always talking about the beauty of this community and the wonderful history that we can learn from and celebrate, and today is one of those days of celebration. And I want to thank all of you for being part of the day. Even though it's a little cloudy outside, your rays of sunshine that are going to be shining on the history we're celebrating today. So put the hands together and celebrate each one of you. Thanks for being here. You know, the thoughts of having a history museum in downtown Akron is really not a new idea. It's been talked about in many forums over the last several decades. But it all started to come together because of the generosity of Don Kaler and the Weldy Company, who are partners in this, and they availed the space that you're going to see a little later today. Don is with us today, so again, let's thank Don and put your hands together for him. Because of the partnership with the Weldy Company, the idea of the museum featuring 200 years of Akron history started to really take shape. And over the last 5 years, the Akron History Center became a reality. A board of directors was formed and recruited. A nonprofit organization was put together, and $2.2 million was raised from this very, very caring community. Quite an achievement. Since 2023, the team has been actively engaged and working tirelessly on designing the center and fabricating and installing the exhibits. By the numbers, listen to some of these. When you go over to see the museum, you're going to witness 62 exhibits, 30 video flat screens, 22 PowerPoint presentations, 64 video biographies of Akronites who impacted America, 20 steps to social justice, and more than 150 artifacts that have been placed on display. And many of those artifacts are being displayed for the very first time in public. The project has been described by many as the leading edge of Akron's bicentennial, which we're also going to be celebrating this year. And the city of Akron also, when they heard about this project, stepped right up to be a partner. And they provided support for the Akron History Center and a $500,000 grant made in 2022. It truly was the kind of gift that came forward at the perfect time, and it enabled us to raise the rest of the funds that we needed to build out what you will see today. Because of that wonderful relationship with our city and the way they've really partnered with us, it's my pleasure to introduce you our 63rd mayor, Mayor Shamus Malik.
Good morning, everyone. This is an exciting day here in Akron. As Mr. Considine said, this space that you're about to see is the result of so many people working together. And as I got up this morning, I was kind of thinking of this duality of the past and the future, right? Hello. They're lights, they're bright lights. I can't see every single face. But I was thinking of the past and the future, right? And I think today is probably a pretty good example of that. What you're going to see, what some of you have already seen in the 3 floors of the History Center, is an amazing achievement that is, something we have to thank Mr. Lieberth, thank the Historical Society, thank the library for curating. Right? A lot of thought and effort and care has gone into the presentation of the history. Just a couple weeks ago, Alice and I walked through and Mr. Lieberth gave us the tour and tried to stump me with the trivia, and I think was unsuccessful because I like history. But what I'm most excited about is the young people who are here today, the young people who are going to walk through this space for generations to come, who are going to be inspired by what they see, by the rich legacy of talent and tradition and achievement that they see, and who one day are going to have their work enshrined in spaces like this as well. That is what Akron's future is. In this 200th year, in this bicentennial year that Mark is doing such an amazing job, we should give him a round of applause. And next year is the country's 250th year. We are marking a lot of milestones, but we're also looking to the future. So later today, I'm going to be celebrating the 105th birthday of one of our residents. Across town, there's going to be a protest, speaking of social justice. Down the street, there's going to be our Cherry Blossom Sakura Festival with Downtown Akron Partnership, and people are going to get to experience the beauty of this Main Street, the beauty of this new Lock 3, the beauty of all the spaces that have been curated throughout our city. People are going to see over the coming weeks and months new development over at Cascade Plaza. They're going to see Quaker Square be redeveloped. They're going to see future investments in our polymer industry. And they're going to see all of these things because of the work of people in this room and people in rooms all across this city. And I keep thinking about that past and the future and how it's so amazing that we have this space to be inspired by, that you all put together. But it will really help power the future of this amazing city to have it be really better than ever before. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I've seen firsthand his dedication to our community, and he's the right guy at the right time. You know, in Akron, the whole spirit of collaboration has been a key to a lot of our success over the years. I witnessed it firsthand during my years working at Children's Hospital, and have always seen how that collaboration brings the best out of all of us. And when we're talking about our History Museum, partnerships and collaborations were going to be key. And from the very beginning, we needed a partner that had the capacity and the willingness to operate the museum today and in the future. The Akron Summit County Public Library answered that call. And we need to also now answer the call and vote on issue 18 for our library. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Executive Director of the Akron Summit County Public Library, Pam Hickson Stevenson. Pam?
Thank you. Good morning. I did not pay him to say that, but I appreciate it very, very much. I am just so delighted to be here today. This has been an arduous road, and there are some, but in a good way, but there are some folks that I do feel really compelled to thank. First of all, I want to acknowledge two library staff members who are here, Mary Plazo, who is the manager of our Special Collections Division, and Caitlin Conley, who is our local history and museum specialist. Can we please give them a round of applause? They have done all of the heavy lifting on behalf of the library, but they are not the only ones involved. Our IT department, our facilities department, our business office, other members of administration have all been involved in one way or another to help bring this dream to fruition. So I'm very grateful for all of their work. I'm also very grateful to our Board of Trustees. I believe we have 4 members of the board attending this morning. They were the ones who gave the green light, said, yes, let's go ahead and do this. Let's approve the very initial agreement. And so I appreciate their foresight and their willingness to dedicate some library resources to making sure that we could assist in bringing the Akron History Center to fruition and continue it with managing the operation. So we're very grateful to that. There's so many other people to thank. Downtown Akron Partnership, the Summit County Historical Society, the board of the Akron History Center, anybody who donated funds, the city of Akron, I could go on and on. And I have one person that I want to thank at the end. But before I do that, I'd like to say that this has been a very interesting few years, and I mean that in a good way in this instance. Last year, both the Summit County Historical Society and the Akron Summit County Public Library celebrated significant anniversaries. The Historical Society celebrated 100 years of existence, and the library system celebrated 150 years of service to the community. This year, it's the 200th, the bicentennial of the city. Glitching a bit, I apologize for that. And so we're very grateful for that. And then next year, was already mentioned, is the 250th for the United States of America. I think it's an amazing convergence of important anniversaries for institutions and governmental entities that are important in our lives. And I think that shouldn't go lost on anybody here, that we're celebrating a number of things. The last person I want to thank is Dave Lieberth. And I think you all know this would not have happened without Dave's determination, his persistence, his just his raw strength of will. And I think we all owe Dave a huge debt of gratitude for all the work that he's done to bring this about. As he liked to say often in the beginning, Akron was the only city of any size in Ohio that did not have some sort of installation to celebrate the history. And so I think we all need to thank Dave for his hard work. So thank you, Dave.
Well, thank you, Pam. Well said. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the dozens of artifacts that you will see displayed today come from 4 different collections here in Akron. The library's Special Collections Division, the University of Akron's Archives, the Lighter Than Air Society, and for the most part, the Summit County Historical Society. The Historical Society has been an important partner in assembling the collections that are on display that you'll see today. The Society has been involved from the very beginning and continues to contribute to the project each and every single day. On behalf of the board of the Akron History Center, I'd like to offer our gratitude and thanks to the president and CEO of the Society, Leanne Neff Hepner, and the Mike's all hers. Leanne?
Good morning. On behalf of the Society staff, volunteers, and board of directors, we've got Chris Esker, our chair, Emma Lieberth Osborne, Anthony Borman, and Tamanda Mullins here. I'm honored to stand before you here today on this momentous occasion to share some reflections. And naturally, when we got together to meet about today's program and I learned about my topic that was assigned, I looked at Dave and I asked him what he wanted me to say. I immediately went back to my wet behind the ears first months in Akron in 1997 while I anxiously awaited for Dave to appear in the old City Center Hotel lobby to collect the speeches he had written that I was to transport to the National Inventors Hall of Fame. Yes, it was an intimidating assignment, and that's probably why they sent the newbie, because I didn't know any better. Anyway, back to the event at hand. Dave said with a smile, and I quote, "Leanne, you can talk about anything." And I did almost fall off my chair, and there was no doubt that I looked at him with my mouth wide open. Then it hit me. Dave had played the long game, and he had accomplished what he set out to do 40 years ago as a new board director of the Summit County Historical Society when he proposed a museum of Akron's history. He did not need to guide my words or worry about being surprised by what I said, and at this point, working years to guide relationships, assist with gathering artifacts, raising money, and then definitely more money, and writing from 9 a.m. in the morning until late at night, wringing his brain out of every last drop of knowledge of Akron history that had been stored and collected there since his junior high school year when he first became a member of the Summit County Historical Society to today. I pressed him again. Really? And then I saw a flicker in his eyes, and it was probably a recent memory from last year during the Society's centennial when he showed up at our celebration to find out that I had made 1980s slap bracelets with his image on them from our 1983 newsletter when he served his first term as the board chair. And yes, that artifact is now in our permanent collection, and we may need to put it on display at the Akron History Center in the future. But Dave then became Dave, and he shared what I really should talk about. He said I should share about the work of the Society, an agency that he often refers to as the nonprofit on food stamps. Not just because we have a small budget, but because we are always creative in accomplishing our goals. and making things stretch in our preservation, interpretation, and education of thousands of children and adults that we reach with amazing artifacts that we have accumulated over the past 101 years. Some of these are housed in partnership with the Akron Summit County Public Library's special collections. Thank you, Pam. So everyone has more access to these gems. A project that came together under Dave Lieberth and Judy James' forward thinking and is now managed by Mary Plazo, a true rock star in the field and on the electric guitar. Today, you'll see the many unique and jaw-dropping three-dimensional artifacts from our collection that were gathered by the original founding women of the Society from the Cuyahoga Portage chapter of the DAR. They were saved from dumpsters and curbs by loyal volunteers and members or acquired through relationships like our largest artifacts, the Old Stone School, John Brown House, and the Perkins Stone Mansion. They tell the rich and diverse history from the founding of Akron and Summit County by the Perkins family, which is kind of important this year during Akron's bicentennial, to the abolishment of slavery that was sparked by our own John Brown, the man that Dave Lieberth states is the most consequential person to live here in Akron and Summit County, and the fight for equal voting rights, with Sojourner Truth giving her most famous speech here in 1851 with the rally cry, "Ain't I a woman?" History is not just the past, it is the present, and the future. More specifically, it is personal. When we read about the labor strikes, the rubber workers, the construction of the canals, these are not just words on the screen or the panel, they are the stories of your ancestors and your descendants. Dave may have had the idea of the Akron History Museum in the 1980s to promote the community and build the economy, but when it comes down to it, the Akron History Center is here because it's important to family, his family. Lynn and Dave had been married for over 50 years. He's an awesome girl dad. His amazing 4 granddaughters are here today. It's also about your family and mine. We need to collect the stories and tell them because now more than ever, we need to protect their inventive, industrious, and inspired past. And yes, for you history nerds out there, I did borrow Dave's title for the Akron 175th, the Cineseptiquanery documentary that he produced in 2000. When, by the way, he allowed them to put pyrotechnics off the roof of the Perkins Stone Mansion and almost put me into premature labor. So our inventive, industrious, and inspired future generations will value the shoulders on whom they stand. Thank you for your part in making this History Center possible. It is due to your dedication of time and treasure that local residents and visitors from afar will learn about the amazing people in the place that we call home. We hope that you will continue to support the Akron History Center, the Akron Summit County Public Library, and the Summit County Historical Society of Akron, because we are here for you and accessible for all.
Wow, that was great. We've already heard that a project of this nature really does require leadership. It requires someone that is a visionary, someone that has a skill set that knows how to get things done. They can be a bulldog, and from time to time can be a wild man. And we definitely had that in Dave Lieberth. You know, I've had the pleasure of knowing Dave since our days at the University of Akron together, when we both served on the student government. And even then, he was a voice that could get people to listen to what they needed to hear. Dave knows how to really pull people together. You've heard the word collaboration. He knows how to bring that forward, and he does know how to get things done. He is a real gift to this community, and you can look at his resume and everything that he's done to really reach out to the citizenry. It's something that's pretty special. Because of all that, the board of directors, and having a front row seat and seeing what he brought to the table each and every day as we were working on this History Center, we knew we needed to do something to say thank you to him. And in a unanimous vote, Dave now thinks we might have paid people for this vote, but I assured him we didn't. But in a unanimous vote, we did say that when you come off the Lock 4 Canal and enter the museum from that side, that floor now will be known as the David A. Lieberth Gallery. And following our program here, we're going to head right next door to the center, go down to that floor, and have an unveiling of the signage that will greet people when they come in to see those exhibits. And with that, let me bring to the microphone someone we've been talking about, Mr. David Lieberth. David.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you very much, Bill, and thank you, everybody, for being here today. Obviously, because of the weather, we had to move inside, but I need to say this first. For the benefit of my granddaughters here today, Genevieve and Paige and Evelyn and Eloise, I want to make one thing clear. You can be obsessed with a vision, compulsive about realizing it, and people will still not call you crazy. To Lynn and to Emma, thank you. I appreciate the sacrifices you've made to make this day possible. I'm grateful to the 15 members of the History Center's Board of Directors. Their names are in your program. Every day since 2022, they've been unflagging in their support, and they have volunteered their time, their talent, their treasure to make this possible. Early on, we knew that the museum could be sustained only with the help of partners. So to Pam Hickson Stevenson and David Jennings before her, I appreciate the support of the Akron Summit County Public Library and the Board of Trustees. Joe Faris, John Frola, Angela Neely, and Bill Rich are here today. The library's manager of special collections, Mary Plazo, and local historian and museum specialist Caitlin Conley have worked diligently every day for the last several years to open the center with both professionalism and dedication. And as Leanne said, the inspiration for the History Center began at the Summit County Historical Society, and this project simply would not have been possible without Leanne. She is as obsessed and compulsive as I am about discovering and disseminating the gems of Akron's history. As a curator, she has overseen that collection of 150 artifacts that are on display. We partnered with other local history organizations and collections to complete our displays, and I'm pleased that the Board of the Lighter Than Air Society is here today, and want to call out both Wayne Buchanan and Eric Brothers, who've helped us with the wonderful exhibit on lighter than air that you'll see on the mid-level. The University of Akron Archives and its director, Vic Fleischer, have been great partners. You're going to see relics of Akron's past that have not seen the light of day for 100 years. One artifact, incidentally, that won't be on display but is here today is this lectern. Its history is that it was part of the Ida Bell Firestone School of Nursing at City Hospital, which was opened in 1929, and Leanne and I rescued it from the dumpster along with other furniture of the period, which has been successfully repurposed elsewhere. The History Center always has been the leading edge of Akron's bicentennial, and today we're joined by the Executive Director of Akron 200, Mark Greer, and many members of the Akron Bicentennial Commission, and I want to thank them for their enthusiastic support. But what brought the project into being was that $500,000 grant from the city of Akron. So Mayor Malik, we appreciate the city's understanding that a center that exposes 200 years of history can benefit the community in multiple ways, as you mentioned. We raised $1.5 million more after that, thanks to our local foundations, and represented today by Kyle Kudichev and John Garofalo, Anthony Borman, and in all there were 86 separate businesses, individual donors, governmental units who helped us meet that goal. Their names are listed on the back of your program today. Well, this all began in about 1980, a story in the Beacon Journal about maybe a new museum for Akron. I was a 33-year-old trustee at the Historical Society and asked why we weren't doing something, which promptly got me named as chairman of a committee to study. So we spent a year interviewing companies, myself, Dr. George Neppert, Jack Kick, wonderful names of past historians. We met with the Ohio Historical Society multiple times and then issued a report in 1983. That report helped us bring the National Inventors Hall of Fame to Akron in 1987, and it helped make the case for the start of the Akron History exhibit at Lock 3, which we opened in 2003, which many of you will remember as the Marble Museum. When I left the mayor's office in 2013, I knew that if this were ever going to happen, it had to happen by this year, 2025. But we needed some stars to align first. And that happened when Don Taylor of Welding Building Company and Bob Dehoff took over this Bowery project. They needed something to go into 172 South Main, not a traditional retail store that the city's easement prohibited. And I had this idea, but it was crazy to think that we could fit 200 years of Akron's remarkable history into 3,000 square feet. It became feasible when I engaged Dennis and Kathy Berry of Cleveland Heights, who are here today, who created world-class museums from Washington, D.C. to Las Vegas. And with Amber Anderson, they provided a roadmap for us, a narrative that would underlie the development of $1.5 million worth of exhibits. My next call was to Amy Humbert of Communication Exhibits of Canal Fulton. We knew their work, but we didn't know how dedicated their staff would become in designing, fabricating, and installing what you will see today. And I want to thank Richard Berkheimer, who's here, Monica Pritchard, Mike Hill, and the entire CEI team. As Bill said, there are 62 exhibits showing over 150 artifacts and 30 video flat screens. Now, we could have searched high and low for an expert video producer, but the best of the best was right across the street at Pritt Entertainment Group. They created 22 PowerPoint-type presentations, 64 video biographies, and my thanks to Ryan Pritt, who is here today as well. The history exhibits themselves are punctuated by the work of 14 local artists and photographers. Last week, Micah Kraus completed the installation of the entry art design that honors the significant history of metalworking in Akron, something that's often quite forgotten. He borrowed from the Art Deco designs of the Fulton Airport and acknowledged those flowing waters that make up Akron's past, the Little Cuyahoga, the Cuyahoga River, the Tuscarawas, and the two canals, the Ohio and Erie Canal and the P&O Canal, all represented in that new storefront that we have. When Greg Mervis, the CEO of the Convention and Visitors Bureau, came to my office to discuss something important a little while back, I was surprised that the board of directors of the center all lost their minds at the same time on the same day and voted to put my name on the Lock 4 Gallery. I'm grateful for that. It's the honor of a lifetime for a historic relic like me. Thank you. Now I'm going to ask our crew to help us out as we're going to do the ribbon cutting. Bill and Mayor Malik and Pam and Leanne, would you take your places here at the ribbon? I do want to tell you what this is all about. We were going to do it outside, but now that we're here, seems perfectly fine. Bob Seegers is here from the Musson Rubber Company. He was at the other end of the phone when I called him to say, I need a ribbon of rubber. And so Musson has been in business since 1945, making rubber floor matting, and so here we are. We have the ribbon of rubber, and you can cut it with scissors. We've all checked that out. If you can't cut it, then you probably need to see an orthopedic hand surgeon. All right?
See there, you got to, hey Dave, what you got in the middle? And this stuff on, because with the center order on the
You guys understand that Bruce Ford has done this 1,000 times. He directed. Okay.
So what we're gonna do is just pose with the zipper and then under the one freedom cut, okay? Then I'll shut up. Here we go. Okay. Hold on, here we go, right there. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you all very much. I need to give you some instructions now as we move over to the History Center. This is sort of like a wedding, except there's no bride and groom. We're the bride and groom today. We're going to walk down this center aisle, if you don't mind.